You're listening to Weight Loss for Life Coaches, Episode 18, with Master Certified Life and Weight Loss Coach, Paige Bowman.
Welcome to Weight Loss for Life Coaches, the weekly podcast for coaches who are growing their coaching business and on their weight loss journey. Each week, we'll be tackling why weight loss feels hard and how to make hitting your weight loss goal the simplest thing you do all day. We are talking all about body thoughts on this episode. We're going to dive deep. We're going to take a look at where your body thoughts come from or have come from up to this point, what they are now, and then we're going to talk about what you want your body thoughts to be moving forward. Just to keep y'all updated on my recovery from COVID, I am feeling much better. In fact, I told a client today that I am feeling like it's the first day where I'm not thinking about having had COVID and I don't feel weak. I don't feel like I need more rest today. So I'm feeling much better. And thank you for those that reached out, asked how I was doing, and have been praying and thinking about me. I appreciate it. I think someone told me I have long COVID or had long COVID, and I would not wish that on anyone. So hopefully if I get it again, it will not be as bad, or I just won't get it again. So today we're talking about body thoughts, and I really want you to go listen to the Love Paradox episode if you haven't yet, because we're going to be talking about the love paradox in this episode, and it's going to have a lot to do with your body thoughts moving forward. I think that's episode 7, so go listen to that and then come back and listen to this one. I thought about what I wanted to talk to you all about when I came up with this idea for this podcast. And I want to dive deep in a way that I don't hear a lot of people doing in other areas, or just other experts in the field of weight loss and using mindset in this area. And I wanted to look at it from a couple different areas. I want to help you look at your body thoughts from a couple different areas. And I wanted us to talk about where your past thoughts about your body and bodies comes from, and all the different areas that might affect your past beliefs about bodies and how that might feed into your current belief about bodies. And then I want to talk about the love paradox and how that can change your opinion about your body and bodies moving forward. So let's dive right into it. I took a webinar masterclass type of training from the famous Simone Seol last year, I think it was, and it was called Model Heresy. If you are a fan of hers or know who she is, you know she teaches the best about marketing, and her program is called Joyful Marketing, and she's just an amazing teacher. And she wanted to teach the coaching market, us coaches, about different ways of looking at the model. And something that she taught in that class, I think it was called, like I said, Model Heresy, that really hit me. She said that the way we think about circumstances in the world, the facts of the world, the things in the world, it's not logical. So we have to question where our thoughts, our opinions about the things in the world come from, because they might be coming from something that you just don't believe in anymore, or you don't agree with anymore, but you'll keep thinking that way until you question it. And then she said, and I love this so much, once you do question where those thoughts come from, and you find that you don't like where they come from, you can give those BS thoughts back to the world or to family or society. And ever since I took that class with Simone, I have been really questioning my thoughts and my opinions and asking myself, where does this come from? Where in my past, where in a piece of my culture or my family or something I identify with that might be influencing this? How am I bringing my past to the present? And then asking myself, what do I actually want to think about this? When I give those BS thoughts back, about the thing, right? The circumstance that I'm thinking about. What do I want my beliefs to be moving forward? And we're talking about being really intentional on purpose moving forward. But before we do that, let's take a look at the past. So let's talk about what areas of your life of being a human here on earth right now that could be affecting your thoughts about your body and bodies. I want you to think about these areas of your life and how they might be affecting your beliefs. Cultural and society standards, race, religion, age, the people you hang around with, your friends, where you live or where you grew up, your family. Think about each of those and how they might impact your current beliefs about your body. And to be clear here, when I say thoughts about your body or body thoughts, I really truly mean your thoughts, your beliefs about the way a body should be, should look, what it should do or not do, how it should perform or behave. And you might be having these thoughts about your body, but also about people's bodies. So when you think about cultural and society standards, for example, where have you been taught, or think back to the first time you remember a piece of your culture or society informing you of what you should be thinking a body should do or should look. So for me, I remember when I was in middle school, I want to say, and I really got into cute clothes, or at the time what I thought were cute clothes and style. And I remember thinking about how the clothes looked on me. And I remember going outside of me to find the answer. And I specifically looked to my peers around me, and not just those in my school, for example, or those I live near, but the peers that I saw on TV. I loved Lizzie McGuire growing up. So I'm sure if you put her outfits next to mine when I was in middle school, we looked a lot alike in what we wore. And so that's the first time I remember culture and society looking to them and them informing me of not just what a body should look like, but the way it should look in clothes, for example. The first time I remember realizing that culture and society informed me of how my body should look, not just in clothes, but my body, was in high school. And I took a strength and conditioning class in high school. And I remember being very hyper focused on my body shape and trying to figure out how I know what it's supposed to look like, and whether I am too big or too heavy, or what's the right shape here that I'm supposed to be going after. And although I really enjoyed that class, what I realized is it was the window for me to be really interested. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but really into what my body was supposed to look like. And again, I didn't know what my body was supposed to look like. How was I supposed to find the answer? Who knew that information? And so I looked outside to culture and society, my peers, both in the media, in entertainment, and my friends, and those I hung around and who I saw at high school and on a daily basis. And for me, what I realized is I didn't like what my body looked like compared to those around me. And then I held myself to this standard of what I thought I was being taught, what I thought was the right way to think about bodies, and mine was wrong. And that's really the first time I remember looking outside of me to decide what I want my body to look like and making myself wrong for that information. So I share with you my experience, and this is one of many that I have had in my life. Of course, I'm sure you're the same, but this is one experience I remember being informed by something outside of me, and really no one ever teaching me to think differently or how to decide how I want my body to look until way, way, way later. So I want you to think about what cultural or society standards might you have used to inform how you think about your body or how bodies should look. And you can do this in other areas. So for example, what about race? Is there a way you think your body should look or a body should look dependent on race? What about religion? You might be thinking, what's religion got to do with how bodies are supposed to look? But consider, depending on your religion, what you might have been taught about bodies and the way they should or shouldn't be, what they should or shouldn't do. And ask yourself, what have I been taught from my religion? And do I still agree with that, right? These are the kinds of questions I want you to be taking with you throughout this entire episode is, what have I learned? And where do my beliefs come from the past and the present, right? I want you to separate it from what I've learned from the past, right? I told you about my high school experience and what is informing your current thoughts about your body in the present. So for me, I can separate out my past ways of being informed about the way my body should look. And I can acknowledge that my present is different. But if I have beliefs about bodies right now that I might want to change, I can still take a look at, where am I getting my information now? Am I still looking outside of me? And what am I looking at to decide? Or am I looking within? And what do I want to do moving forward? Think about age or where you live. Are there ways that you have been taught that a person that is of a certain age, how they should look, what their body should look like, what it should be able to do, what it should stop being able to do? What about where you live? Have there been standards according to where you live? Not just culture and society, but really think about, I live in the deep South, and I do think that there are standards set by the location of where I live that informs how a body should look. And I want you to think about these categories as separate, but also interspersed, right? The culture of where I live, not just in America, but in Georgia. The society of maybe someone who lives in middle class, or the age of someone in their mid 30s. Have I been believing that my body should be a certain way because of what society has taught me about age? And taking a look at how I've been using those beliefs in the past, and then what are they right now? And then lastly, those around you, especially your family. Take a look at your thoughts about bodies and how yours should look and how people's bodies should look and what you've learned from your family. What have you been taught to believe about bodies? And what kind of thoughts have you picked up about bodies because of those who raised you and who you were raised around? I want to be clear here that there's no judgment in taking a look at your thoughts about bodies that you've picked up in the past. There's awareness so that you can understand more about why you've been believing the way you've been believing about bodies your entire life. Understanding what you may no longer want, and you can give those BS thoughts back to culture, society standards, religion, race, family, friends, etc. But that's only possible once you let yourself take a pause, look at what your thoughts are, what your past beliefs have been, using these categories as just a thought finder, and then deciding what you want to do from here. Do you want to keep those beliefs? And then what of those past beliefs, right? We went to the past first. What of those past beliefs are still here? What are your current beliefs about your body, about bodies, right? It may have changed. It's good to know what the past was. For example, my thoughts about my body being too big when I was in high school compared to those around me, that was a past belief that my body was too big. So even when I decided to lose 25 pounds, I was no longer using outside society standards to decide I was too big. I decided to change for my own personal reasons. And we're going to talk about that later on in the episode. So I have my past beliefs, and then I have my present beliefs. I've acknowledged that I've let those past beliefs go, and I can see and understand so much more my journey in the past, right? It's very much an understanding, but also a compassion. Of course, I struggled with food and with body image. I was using what other people were telling me I should or shouldn't look like. I didn't know. I was doing the best I could, and here I am now. So it's a very curious and compassionate journey we're going on to understand your body thoughts. So, what are your thoughts about bodies now? And you can use those same categories: culture, society, race, religion, age, location, peers, and family. Use those categories to see what your thoughts are now. I know for me personally, I have really done my work on what I might call smaller bodies. So I don't know how to explain it other than maybe a BMI of in the lower 20s. I don't necessarily use the BMI. I think it's body mass index. But I found that as I hit my weight loss goal and then maybe even lost a little bit of weight after that, that I had some strong beliefs about smaller bodies. And I have really done some work on letting go of cultural, from family, from location, from religion, all of those past beliefs that I did not even realize were there until I hit my goal. And then I lost maybe another 2 pounds. It's wild how the number on the scale can really be a thought finder. And of course, that's why I do the work with my clients on mindset around the number on the scale. And we talk about it here on the podcast so much because, of course, even that comes from culture and societies as well. But when I lost a few more pounds after my goal, it just happened. I just kept eating according to my hunger scale. I realized I have a lot of strong beliefs about smaller bodies. And I had some fears come up. I had some anxiety, some panic. And I realized that my past beliefs were also informing my present beliefs about my body, that it was time to check in and see what was going on there. And then I decided to give some of those BS thoughts back. And I have really been intentional about my thoughts about my body and bodies in general. I've been intentional about paying attention to where my thought about a body is coming from, whether it's from my past or my present or even my future, and if it's informed from something outside of me or something inside of me. So we're taking a look at what your past beliefs about your body and bodies has been, and then we're taking a look at what your present beliefs are and the things that you're thinking about your body now and about other people's bodies as well. The reason why I'm including other people's bodies as well is just to help you see that we're not just ourselves. We do live in a community of people. And oftentimes what I find with my clients is they'll have thoughts about other people's bodies that just inform their beliefs about bodies in general. So I'm kind of getting meta, but how you think about your body will be similar to how you think about other people's bodies and vice versa. So I don't want it to be just your body that you're thinking about, but let it be about bodies. And you can very much make it personal if you would like, but I want to offer that doing this work around your body and bodies in general can be very powerful and has been very powerful for my own work. And lastly, let's think about what you want your beliefs to be about your body and bodies in the future. And don't just answer that question automatically. I also want you thinking about how you want to inform your answer. Do you want to use culture and society and age and race and family and peers, religion and location to influence your answers? There is no right or wrong answer here. There is, what do you want to believe and where do you want that information to come from? It's time to be intentional about your body thoughts. Not only have I been doing the work around smaller bodies, I've done the work around age as well. And that's still work I'm doing right now. Questioning this idea that I should change my expectations of my body just because I'm aging, and questioning where that's coming from, and both in the past and the present, and then deciding what I want to think about my body and bodies as they age. And getting intentional about what I want my thoughts to be and what I want to inform my beliefs and what I don't want to inform my beliefs. So I'm really getting very intentional and purposeful about my thoughts about my body now and in the future. And I'm getting intentional and purposeful about my future thoughts, right? I'm getting purposeful about how I want to think about my body in the future. And I'm getting purposeful about what my future thoughts will be. Let yourself dream here when we're looking to the future. Not just what do you want your thoughts to be about your body, but what kind of things do you want to believe about bodies? Do you want to believe that they are unstoppable, that they're super trustworthy, that they are capable of so much more than you've been told? This is something I've been playing around with myself, especially as I was talking about age and questioning this idea that a body shouldn't be as capable as it ages, and realizing that I've got some past and present beliefs that has been holding me back from how I move my body, not just my weight loss and being at maintenance, but how I move my body. And so I'm playing around with this idea that my body is capable of 10 times more than I ever thought, both in how it moves and what happens inside and what it's capable of, both in taking care of me and handling my emotions. Bodies are powerful. And so when you think about what thoughts you want to have about bodies, not just the way they should look, but what do they do or not do? What's your body for or not for? Really play around with all the ways you want to be thinking about bodies and go ahead and set those intentionally and start practicing those beliefs on a daily basis. One of my favorite new thoughts I have about bodies is I can trust my body and bodies are trustworthy. It's one of my favorite thoughts. I use it in my sessions with my clients. I use it when I think about people and their bodies. And of course, I love believing I can trust my body. It's one of my favorite thoughts. And it's one that I was offered in a coaching session and I decided to keep it. So now I use this thought to inform my relationship with my body. And I will continue using this thought as long as it serves me moving forward. Now let's talk about the love paradox. And if you haven't listened to that podcast episode, it's episode 7, but I'll explain it briefly here. So the idea of the love paradox is that you can love where you are now and want to make a change. In fact, you can use that love you have to be the fuel for the change. I wanted to add the love paradox to this topic because I have a feeling that many of you, when you write out your past and present beliefs, might not have a lot of love for your body. I know that when I talk to my clients about their why for losing weight, a lot of the times it's because they don't like their body, and losing weight is the way to change their beliefs about their body. And I want to offer to you here that if that's the case for you, that maybe your future thoughts are that you love your body, but you're attaching that to having lost weight, I want to offer to you that it's available for you to love your body now and have loving thoughts about your body and change it or let it change if that's the plan. So if you have a goal to lose 25 pounds because you want to, because you want your body to be smaller, because you want to be healthier, because it would just be the thing that you want to do, and you really can lose weight just because you want to. Now, I wanted to lose 25 pounds because I wanted to be 25 pounds smaller in my body. I also wanted to stop overeating, and I wanted to learn how to eat food mainly for fuel. And I knew that the byproduct of that would be losing 25 pounds. And I was correct in my guess. But my beliefs about my body at the time were not as loving, but the work I did, even before I lost even the first 10 pounds, was really to start loving my body the way it was. So I can really say that I lost most of my weight loving myself, my body along the way. I loved my body and I let it change. I loved my body and I changed it. You can love your body now. You can have loving, kind, amazing thoughts about your body and let that be what drives you to change. This is why knowing your past and present beliefs is so important, because if they're not fueled by love, here's your opportunity to make that change, not just by changing your weight or changing your eating, but by changing it in your mindset first. And if you take a look at your past and present beliefs about bodies and you realize this isn't the most loving thing I could think about my body, I want to make a change, then by all means, take a look at what your future self believes about her body and bodies, what you would love to believe about your body, and start implementing those beliefs now. Let your new loving beliefs be what drive you on this weight loss journey, knowing that you can love your body and let it change. It's something that I think about aging as well, right? The more as time goes by, things start to change, and I want to have loving thoughts as that happens. So I am purposefully loving my body now, letting it change as it does, and choosing to continue to love it. So it's a little bit of the opposite, but it works. So start by being open to looking at your past beliefs and current beliefs about your body and bodies, and then open yourself to changing any of those if they're not really in alignment with your values. And as the infamous Simone Soul says, give those BS thoughts back to wherever they came from. I give you permission. And the last thing I want to add is this is important on your weight loss and your stop overeating journey. It goes back to the love paradox and what's driving you, what's the fuel. If it's because you're discontent about your body because of some beliefs you have about bodies, that's not sustainable fuel. We want to take a look at the reason why you're losing weight, and that's a lot easier to do so when you're open to looking at your beliefs about bodies and the way they should or shouldn't be. So it all goes together in helping you be way more aware and curious as you're losing weight and as you're stopping overeating, and then being intentional with what you want that journey to look like. It can be loving, it can be simple, and it can be full of ease. And it starts with being open with yourself. All right, that is it for today's episode. This is one of my new favorites. I love this topic. I hope you enjoyed it as well. This would be a good one to come back and listen to, maybe after 6 months to a year, and do this exercise again and see what changes you've made in your beliefs about your body and about bodies, and just take a look at where you were and then create some new thoughts for your future self, because you're always growing and evolving. If you want one-on-one help with this kind of journey where you're taking a look at your past beliefs about bodies and then being intentional about your future beliefs about bodies and then losing weight by loving where you are now, I can help you. This is exactly what I do with my clients. Send me a message on Instagram at lifecoachpaigeb, or book your consultation call at pagewoman.com/services. And we can get on a consult and talk about exactly what it would be like to have this kind of journey all the way to your weight loss goal. And if you're listening to this real time, I have a webinar coming out just for you. It's all about the 3 super simple steps. And it's everything that I've learned all packed into one webinar. It will be game changing for your weight loss journey. So you are going to want to attend this one. So follow me on Instagram or get on my email list at pagewoman.com/services. You can click join my email list and you'll get the registration link in that way. It's going to be so good. It's going to have everything I've learned and used to lose weight myself and help my clients lose weight all in one webinar. So sign up for that when the registration comes out. But otherwise, that's it for today. I'll see y'all next week.